stay there? Have you ever made a promise to yourself? Something like, this time, I'm going to change for real. Maybe you swore you'd wake up at 5 a.m., hit the gym, or finally start chasing that big dream of yours, whether it's writing a book, starting a business, or getting healthier. You're pumped, you're motivated, and you feel unstoppable for about 3 days. Then life happens. You hit snooze, skip the workout, or get lost scrolling through your phone, wondering, why can't I stay consistent? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. We've all been there, stuck in that cycle of starting strong and fizzling out. Most of us think the problem is motivation or a lack of willpower. But here's the truth. Motivation is fleeting. It's not the key to lasting change. Success doesn't come from one dramatic, life-altering moment. It comes from small, intentional habits that compound over time, creating a ripple effect that transforms your life. That's the core idea behind Atomic Habits by James Clear, a book that's not just about building routines, but about understanding how our daily choices shape who we become. In this video, I'm going to break down the most powerful lessons from Atomic Habits and share how they've personally helped me rewire my mindset and habits. Plus, stick with me until the end, because I'll reveal one game-changing strategy from the book that completely shifted how I think about progress, and it might just do the same for you. Part 1. The Power of Tiny Habits. Let's kick things off with the first big lesson from Atomic Habits. Small changes lead to massive results. James Clear calls habits the compound interest of self-improvement. Think about that for a second. Just like a small amount of money, invested consistently can grow into a fortune over time. Tiny habits, when practiced daily, can lead to extraordinary transformations. Here's a mind-blowing example to illustrate this. If you improve by just 1% every day, whether it's reading one page, doing one push-up, or writing one sentence, by the end of a year, you'll be 37 times better than when you started. That's not a typo, 37 times. But the flip side is just as sobering. If you decline by 1% each day, maybe by skipping workouts, procrastinating, or indulging in distractions, you'll nearly fade away into a version of yourself that feels stuck and unfulfilled. Why do so many of us struggle to stick with our goals? It's because we underestimate the power of consistency and overestimate the need for instant results. We want to see dramatic changes now, so we set massive goals like lose 20 pounds in a month or write a novel in a week. When the results don't come fast enough, we give up. But Atomic Habits teaches us that real change isn't about intensity. It's about showing up day after day with small, sustainable actions. Let me share a story that brings this to life. A few years ago, there was a guy named Mike who wanted to get in shape. He tried every fad diet and intense workout plan out there, but he always quit after a few weeks. Sound familiar? Then, one day, he decided to try something different. He made a ridiculously simple rule. Go to the gym for just 5 minutes a day. That's it. No heavy weights, no hour-long cardio sessions, just show up. Do something small and leave. At first it felt silly, like it wouldn't make a difference, but those 5 minutes turned into a habit. He started showing up consistently, and soon 5 minutes became 10, then 30. Within 6 months, Mike had lost over 100 pounds, not because he went all in with some extreme plan, but because he mastered the art of consistency. That's the magic of small habits. They don't look impressive at first. Day 1, day 2, even week 1, you might not see any change. But silently, steadily, those tiny actions compound into something life-changing. It's like planting a seed. You water it daily, and one day it grows into a tree. The key is to start small and trust the process. But here's the question. How can you actually build habits that stick? We all start strong, but then life gets busy, distractions appear, and motivation fades. So how do some people stay consistent no matter what? James Clear discovered a simple framework that explains it all. The 4 laws of behavior change. These 4 rules can turn any good intention into a permanent habit. Let's break them down one by one. Part 2. The 4 laws of behavior change. So how do you actually build habits that stick? We all start with good intentions, New Year's resolutions, Monday morning motivation, but then life gets in the way. Distractions pop up, motivation fades, and before you know it, you're back to square one. So what's the secret? How do some people stay consistent no matter what? James Clear discovered a simple yet powerful framework called the 4 laws of behavior change. These 4 rules take any good intention and turn it into a habit that lasts. Let's dive into each one and explore how you can apply them to your life. Law 1. Make it obvious. The first law is all about designing your environment for success. Most of us think we need more discipline or willpower to stick to our habits. But James Clear says it's not about willpower, it's about design. Your environment shapes your behavior far more than you realize. If your phone is always within reach, you'll scroll mindlessly. If junk food is on your kitchen counter, you'll snack. But if you flip that around, say, by keeping a book on your desk or a water bottle by your side, you'll naturally gravitate toward better habits. Here's a personal example. I used to struggle with drinking enough water. I'd tell myself, I'll hydrate more. But by the end of the day, I'd realize I barely sipped anything. Then I applied this law. I bought a bright, reusable water bottle and placed it right on my desk, where I couldn't miss it. I also moved my soda cans to the back of the fridge out of sight. Guess what? I started drinking water without even thinking about it. My environment made the habit obvious. Try this. If you want to read more, place a book on your pillow, so it's the first thing you see before bed. If you want to wake up early, put your alarm clock across the room so you have to get out of bed to turn it off. Make your good habits impossible to ignore and your bad habits hard to access. Design your surroundings to work for you, not against you. Law 2, make it attractive. The second law is about making your habits enjoyable. Let's be honest, you're not going to stick with something you dread. If going to the gym feels like a punishment or studying feels like torture, you'll find every excuse to avoid it. The trick is to make your habits attractive so your brain actually wants to do them. James Clear introduces a concept called temptation bundling, which is pairing something you need to do with something you love to do. For example, let's say you want to exercise, but you also love binge watching your favorite show. Make a rule. You can only watch that show while you're on the treadmill or doing yoga. Suddenly, exercise becomes something you look forward to because it's tied to a reward. Your brain starts associating the habit with pleasure, making it easier to stick with. I tried this with my morning routine. I used to dread journaling because it felt like a chore, so I paired it with my favorite coffee ritual. Now, I only let myself sip my delicious morning latte while I'm writing in my journal. That small tweak made journaling feel like a treat, and now it's one of my favorite parts of the day. Think about your own habits. How can you make them more appealing? Maybe listen to a podcast you love while cooking healthy meals, or reward yourself with a relaxing bath after a study session. The more enjoyable the habit feels, the more likely you are to keep doing it. Law 3, make it easy. Here's a hard truth. If a habit feels difficult, you won't sustain it. We often set ambitious goals like running 5 miles every day or writing 1,000 words, and when they feel overwhelming, we quit. The secret is to reduce friction and make your habits so easy you can't say no. James Clear suggests starting with what he calls the 2-minute rule. Want to exercise? Start by doing just 2 minutes of stretching. Want to write? Commit to writing 1 sentence. Want to meditate? Sit quietly for 2 minutes. The goal isn't to do something impressive, it's to build the habit of showing up. Once you start, you'll often keep going because action creates momentum. I saw this work wonders with a friend who wanted to start running but always felt too tired. Instead of aiming for a 30-minute jog, she started with a 2-minute walk around her block. It was so easy she couldn't make excuses. Over time, those walks turned into jogs, and now she's training for a half marathon. The key was making it so simple that starting wasn't a hurdle. Ask yourself, what's the smallest possible version of your habit? If you want to read more, start with 1 page. If you want to eat healthier, prep 1 vegetable a day. Don't aim for perfection, aim for repetition. Small actions build clarity, clarity builds momentum, and momentum leads to results. Law 4, make it satisfying. The final law is about making your habits rewarding. Our brains are wired to chase instant gratification. Think about how satisfying it feels to get a notification or eat a sweet snack. That's dopamine at work. To build lasting habits, you need to create a similar sense of satisfaction for your good habits. One way to do this is by tracking your progress. Seeing your streak, whether it's a check mark on a calendar or a habit tracking, gives you a visual reminder of your consistency. It's not about vanity. It's about creating a feedback loop that keeps you motivated. Another way is to celebrate small wins. Did you finish a workout? Do a little victory dance. Wrote a paragraph? Treat yourself to a favorite snack. These micro rewards reinforce the habit and make it feel good to keep going. Here's an example from my own life. I used to struggle with keeping my desk organized, so I started a simple habit: spend 2 minutes tidying up at the end of each day. To make it satisfying, I'd play my favorite song and treat myself to a piece of dark chocolate afterward. It sounds small, But that little ritual turned a boring task into something I looked forward to. Now my desk stays clean and I feel more focused because of it. Find ways to make your habits satisfying. Maybe it's crossing off a task on your to-do list or sharing your progress with a friend. The more rewarding the habit feels, the more your brain will want to repeat it. Part 3. Identity-based habits. Now let's talk about the most transformative lesson in atomic habits. Focus on who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve. Most of us set goals based on outcomes like, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to earn more money. But James Clear argues that true change starts with your identity. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. Instead of saying, I want to read more, say, I'm a reader. Instead of saying, I want to work out, say, I'm an athlete. When you tie your habits to your identity, they become part of who you are, not just something you're trying to do. This shift makes change feel effortless because you're not fighting to achieve a goal. You're simply living as the person you want to be. Let me share a story to illustrate this. A friend of mine, Sarah, always wanted to be a writer but struggled to write consistently. She'd set big goals like finish a novel, but get overwhelmed and give up. Then she read Atomic Habits and changed her approach. She started saying, I'm a writer, and committed to writing 1 sentence a day. That small act was a vote for her identity as a writer. Over time, 1 sentence became 1 paragraph, then 1 page. Today, she's published her first short story, and she's working on a novel, not because she forced herself, but because she embraced the identity of a writer. This mindset shift is powerful. The goal isn't to run a marathon, it's to become a runner. The goal isn't to write a book, it's to become a writer. When your habits align with your identity, they stick because they're an extension of who you are. Part 4, Personal Story plus Realization. Let me get personal for a moment. A couple of years ago, I was stuck in a rut. I wanted to grow, personally, professionally, creatively, but I kept overthinking everything. I'd set huge goals, like launch a YouTube channel or get in the best shape of my life, but I'd start strong and then lose steam. I'd beat myself up, thinking I lacked discipline or wasn't good enough. Sound familiar? Then I came across Atomic Habits and decided to try one of its core principles. Focus on systems, not goals. I picked one small habit, writing for 5 minutes a day. At first, it felt almost pointless. 5 minutes? How could that make a difference? But I stuck with it, using a notebook and a timer, and something incredible happened. Those 5 minutes became a ritual. Soon I was writing for 10 minutes, then 20. That small habit turned into finished blog posts, video scripts, and even a few personal essays I'm proud of. More than that, it gave me a sense of control and clarity I hadn't felt in years. That's when it hit me. Success isn't built in a single dramatic moment. It's built daily, through small, consistent actions. Every time you show up, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Those votes add up, and before you know it, you're living a life you're proud of. Part 5, the game-changing strategy. Now here's the powerful strategy I promise to share, one that completely changed how I think about progress. It's called the habit loop, and it's the backbone of Atomic Habits. Every habit follows a simple cycle: cue, craving, response, reward. Understanding this loop can help you hack your habits and make them stick. Cue. This is the trigger that starts the habit. It could be a time of day, a place, or an emotion. For example, seeing your running shoes by the door might cue you to go for a run. Craving. This is the desire or motivation you feel. You want to feel energized, so you crave the run. Response. This is the action you take, the habit itself, like going for a run. Reward. This is the benefit you get, like feeling accomplished or getting a burst of endorphins. Here's how I use the habit loop to build my writing habit. My cue was setting my notebook on my desk every morning. My craving was the desire to feel productive and creative. My response was writing for 5 minutes, and my reward was checking off my habit tracker and savoring a cup of coffee. By intentionally designing this loop, I turned writing from a struggle into a natural part of my day. You can use the habit loop for any habit. Want to eat healthier? Make the cue a bowl of fruit on your counter. The craving a desire to feel vibrant. The response eating an apple. And the reward a small treat like a piece of dark chocolate. The key is to make the loop clear and repeatable. Part 6. Bringing it all together. If you're feeling stuck, inconsistent, or like you're not living up to your potential, let me remind you of something. You don't need to change your life overnight. You just need to get 1% better every day. Every small choice counts. Every habit matters. That 1-minute meditation, that single push-up, that 1 page you read, it all adds up to a bigger transformation. So here's your challenge. Pause this video right now and ask yourself, What's one small habit I can start today? Maybe it's drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, writing one sentence, or doing a 2-minute stretch. Pick something so small it feels effortless, and commit to it for just 1 week. Use the 4 laws. Make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Tie it to the person you want to become, and watch how that tiny habit snowballs into something life-changing. If this video resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the one habit you're going to start building today? And if you found value in these lessons, hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so we can keep growing together. Let's build a life we're proud of, one atomic habit at a time.